All right, everybody, we are set to begin. Can I ask someone to please close the doors there in the back? Same back over there. Could somebody grab those? All right, we are in for a real treat. I can honestly tell you we're about to see something that I have never seen, I've never heard of before, and it is something that's going to be fun and special and different and help us as we explore how to build and create and develop stories, the story of the case. Our moderator for this is Doug Beam, who is not just a great friend of the Workhorse Seminar, he's been devoted to this seminar and to FJA for decades now, but this is one extraordinary trial lawyer who goes to verdict 1 week in med-mal, another week in TBI, and another week in a first-degree murder case, a prosecutor in the days of the cocaine and cowboys, as we say. I'll turn it over to him, the great friend of all of ours, the most perhaps respected person I know in this world of ours, of trial lawyers, Doug Beam. Doug?
I'm going to ask John to stay up here for John. I've always wanted to tell you to do something. So if you, by the way, this is going to be informal. I'm taking off this, which looks like I'm a dictator of a less developed country. John, I'm going to put a new tab at the bottom that says Florida Notary Public. Yeah. So we're going to be a little more relaxed today. This is special to us. I just want to say something. You know, this Workhorse Seminar is named after John Romano for good reason. How many people in there, clients, have been helped by John Romano because of his teaching? Can I see? I didn't cue the music. But John, I just want to quickly say, I watched John. I listened to everything about John before I made contact with John. I had a case, 12 law firms had turned it down. The wife comes in and says, "You're my lifeline, you're it." I said, "Look, ma'am, we only have 6 weeks to get this done." 12 law firms, they were all solid law firms, great law firms. These cases will come into your office. Jerry McGrail at my office, longtime FJA member, Illinois Basketball Hall of Fame too. But he said, "Doug, there's this guy Romano." I said, "I know about Romano. I've been observing his work. I like his value system, his family, Nancy, his wife, Todd and Eric. I watched them." I said, he goes, "Go down, get an audience with Romano." Now, an audience with Romano is nothing formal. I stayed for a full day. Basically, I went down to sell my case to John to help me. He took the case. It turned out to be, is Dustin Herman in here? Is Dustin? Where are you, Dustin? Dustin's got his hand up. That was Dustin's first jury trial, and here he is lecturing at FJA. It was my son's first jury trial. They're both Panthers, FIU and University of Florida undergrad. They overcame that time at Florida by going to FIU. But we did the trial. John took it. He later told me that everybody in his law firm told him not to do it. And as it turned out, we got a tremendous outcome. The family's taken care of for the rest of their lives. And that's the way John Romano, he shares and he helps out. And John, music, you love music. And Jeff, could you come up? This is Jeff Roberts. Jeff's from Nashville. Jeff studied with Jerry Spence. Excuse me, I'm going through puberty again. That was not a good time. But Jeff is a trial lawyer in Nashville. He's starting a new initiative there called The Bard, and he'll tell you a little bit more about that. But that's for lawyers who really, really want to learn from country music, songwriters, and performers on storytelling and combining it with people like John Romano, who's going to be part of it, some of the rest of us, and we're going to merge those together. The idea being to help lawyers get the needed trial experience preparation. And he's going to tell you about that in a few minutes. But Jeff told me you shared a story with him this week about music playing a role in one of your cases, and it moved Jeff so much that he and Max have something for you. But there you
Okay. So, John, do you remember when we were talking, me, you, Nancy, and Ginger, and you were telling me about a case that you had involving a young lady that had gotten hurt? So, if you don't mind, I'll just hand the mic to you and just give the folks a little bit of background about that case.
This was a young lady in West Palm Beach who is a waitress at a Hooters restaurant. And she left when the shift was over. It was about 1 o'clock in the morning. They finished cleaning up. She drives her car, gets on the I-95 ramp, and the car flips, and we had a product liability case. And during that, and she was paralyzed from the waist down. And during that case, I called to Michaela Miller in Jacksonville, who you all know, to do a video settlement documentary. And Michaela jumped all over it and was working on it, and then after she finished all of her interviews up in Virginia where the family was, she called and said, I want to do something special and I need your permission to, you give me the green light, but I don't want to tell you what it is. I said, well, I trust you. You do whatever you think you need to do. So it was probably a couple months later, we got the video settlement documentary, and I will just tell you, Nancy and I were there, and we just cried and cried. And what had happened was, Yvette Marrero was her name. She had made a comment to Michaela, and I didn't know about this, that when I get married, when my husband lays his eyes on me for the first time in my bride's dress, I want to be standing up in the back of the church. So her dad built a staging area where everybody comes into the church and everybody's marching in and beautiful music is playing. And the music that had been playing was a song called Butterfly Kisses. And then when that stopped and they began to play the song, Here Comes the Bride, the husband walks to the back of the church, these huge draperies, 30 feet high, part, and Yvette is standing there holding flowers, and she is on her own 2 feet, and everybody in the church is crying, and her husband-to-be swoops her up in his arms and carries her down the aisle, and it was extraordinary, and the music is what made it, including the characters, and as we looked yesterday when we heard from Francis Ford Coppola, the plot.
Right. Well, thank you for sharing that. So if I may, let me introduce Max T. Barnes. Are you up here, Max? Behind me? Okay. Oh, here he comes. Okay, so John, before you leave the stage, I wanted to let you in on a little something. So Max T. Barnes is from Nashville. He and I are Sumner County boys, and we got together working. I hired him as an expert on a copyright entertainment case, and we got to talking, and we started pushing around some ideas. But I shared this idea of storytelling, songwriting, and trial work, and so Max and I went down to Miami last January and visited with John, where he shared that story with us. So, being from Nashville, sometimes if you don't write the song, you know who does. So, Max, may I hand you the mic and let you take it from here?
Thanks, Jeff. John, this is a cool thing because Jeff is the one who made this happen. And if we could play that little thing right now. Jeff, you want to get that and show John what you've got? Jeff reached out to me and said, do you know who wrote this song? And I said, yes, sir, I do. He goes, would you get me the handwritten lyrics by the writer himself? And this is presented to you, John Romano. God bless you. Cheers. That makes a big impression. The song made a big impression, and of course you made a lasting impression on her life. So God bless you. Thank you, John. There's also another copy there for her. One for you and one for her. All right. Thank you, John. Jeff,
All right.
how about some walking off music for John?
Thank you. So, Doug, I'm going to hand you the microphone. Thank you.
I was so moved by that, I'm going to spontaneously, if you gentlemen don't mind, do some yodeling. I generally do it with polka. It's fusion music. And I mix in a little dirty South rap. It's something I think you'll enjoy. Could you? No, I'm kidding. Okay. Well, Jeff, when I met Jeff up there, he took me to his law office building. It's on probably the most historic corner of Nashville. Right there, John Lewis had a sit-in at the Woolworth store. He showed me from his conference room, he goes, see that office across the street? There used to be an old-time lawyer. He had an office right there. I said, who was that? And he goes, Andrew Jackson. This is an old place. You go down the street, there's a Romano auditorium. He could tell you more about it. You go a certain direction, the Pantheon, over near Vanderbilt. You go down, there's the stadium down on the river, full of history. And Jeff told me, Doug, we're doing something called the Bard. And that's what I told you a little bit about before, and he'll tell you more about it later. But it's very exciting. There's some information on your table. Through Jeff, he called me down, and I met Max T. Barnes. Max T. Barnes is an extraordinary man. He's a thoughtful guy. He's fun to hang out with, if you get a chance to hang out with Max. He and his father are probably the most historic father-son combination of writing country lyrics and performing country songs with, I believe, last count, about 33. Is that about right? He lives in Tennessee, but he also has a place in Ireland. They love him over there in Ireland. He just received an International Country Music Award regarding his contributions internationally as well as in the United States. I'm excited because I always want to know, how can you write a number one song? How can we learn from that to be better trial lawyers? What makes some songs pop and other songs not? We talk about speed trial. I like to talk about a topic now called storytelling, courtroom storytelling, 6 words or less. How do we do it? And Max, I think, is going to tell us, he's got a pretty compressed amount of time to make a hit, right? I mean, so we have that. So Jeff or Max, if you want to tell us a little bit more about kind of what you're about, go ahead.
Thank you, Doug. Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, that'll work. That's for you. I get this one.
I also want to recognize the executive director of the Bard. Is she here? Come on up, Lori. All right. This is Lori Goodman. She was formerly executive director of the Jerry Spence Trial Lawyers College. And she's here. She is now working with these gentlemen on the project called the Bard. She looks very contemporary in her New Mexico style here. Lives in Wyoming, where men are men. And well, anyway, she lives in Wyoming, and you're going to be here as a resource for us. So this is Lori. We're really glad to have her here, and she's worked with some of the top trial lawyers in the country and trained them. So I just wanted to share.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you, Lori. You going to sit with us? You going to hang? All right. All right. Well, I'm going to put this thing in the holder. All right. Well, John, when he was about to introduce me, he said yesterday we asked the folks not to rush on Francis Ford Coppola because he's old. And I thought he was going to say that to me, too. But he said, you'll be fine. Well, no rushing. Well, I'm from Nashville. Can you hear me okay? All right. I'm from Nashville, and in Nashville, when we say hello, we like to say howdy. So how about a big Nashville howdy on 3? 1, 2, 3.
Howdy.
1, 2, 3.
Howdy.
That's good. And when we get excited, we say yeehaw. How about a yeehaw on 3? 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. We never say yeehaw. We're going to do some songs, have some fun, tell some stories. But let me play a song that I wrote for Randy Travis some years back. It was a #1 for us. I must be doing something wrong, baby. I don't know. but the goldfish are floating at the top of the bowl. And the dog, he don't eat, he just lays around. And all night long he makes a lonesome sound. And I know I had it coming and it's all my fault, but baby, come back before you kill us all. The way the plants are dying, you'd swear it's fall. Looks just like autumn up and down the hall. And I talk to them, baby, like you're supposed to do. But they're tired of hearing about me missing you. And I know I had it coming and it's all my fault, but baby, come back before you kill us all. Well, it's a desperate situation. I've got a strong will to survive. But if this place is any indication, well, I may not make it out alive. Well, it's an eerie feeling in the still of the night, knowing that the cat's down to 3 more lives. Well, he turned us all into nervous wrecks. We just sit around and wonder who's gonna be next. And I know you told me not to call, but baby, come back before you kill us all. Baby, come back. Baby, come back. Baby, come back. Baby, come back before you kill us all. Randy Travis. Thank you. Dang, y'all are nice. We all ought to just get an apartment together or something. Y'all are great. This is the weirdest looking honky tonk I've ever played. Jeff, tell them the good stuff we're going to do in Nashville when we get there.
Well, so as as Doug was saying, when Max and I got together working on this case, I was looking at my office, and with all the growth around me in a historic area, my office space is no longer really attractive for another lawyer. So he and I got to thinking, along with my brother Scott, and we just looked at it, and I thought, in this historic district, we need to just get rid of all the office space, and we're turning it into a dedicated CLE spot right there in the heart of downtown Nashville. It's walkable to all the hotels, and so what we're doing, it should be ready by January of 2025. And so to be able to it's the idea, if you build it, will they come? And so the construction starts next Monday to demolish all the interior space to build it out. And so then I got to thinking, well, how am I going to find the people to bring them in? And John Romano and Nancy and Doug, they've all been very supportive of this idea. But I thought, to have somebody dedicated to the task, I need to reach out to somebody that's done something like this. And so Lori Goodman and I met about 11 years ago in Wyoming. She was the gatekeeper that, by the skin of my teeth, I got led into the Trial Lawyers College. And she certainly is an asset. And so I talked it over with Max. And so, Lori, if you don't mind, I'll just turn the floor over to you and let you take it from here.
Well, it's a great privilege. Is this on and working? Okay. So I was the executive director of the Jerry Spence Trial Lawyers College for 14 years. And Christian, yesterday, who spoke to you, was one of our graduates. I see Barry Snyder here. I wish that I had gotten to meet others of you there. But it was a wonderful experience for me. I loved working with Jerry Spence. He is a genius and a brilliant lawyer, and I learned so much, and it was a privilege to serve with him. But now, it's very exciting to be with the startup and to be in that arena, knowing that I still get to work with trial lawyers, and knowing, I thought it was interesting yesterday when Coppola said that success comes not from toil, but from play. And I know in my own life I've had too little of that lately. I got in the grind, and we educated over 800 lawyers a year and graduated thousands, and I had lost the art of play. So when Jeff reached out and told me that the idea is to create an environment, Nashville, which in and of itself is just a beautiful city, which 2 blocks away from Music Row, it oozes play and good time and fun. But also thinking about the lives that you all live. I'm not a trial lawyer, but I know the lives, and I've been with several trial lawyers in their courts and in their trial preparation. And it's a heavy load that you carry. And thinking about the creativity, coming to a place, creating a place where you'll be welcomed to be your inner self, and the songwriter in you that Max is going to help you unleash. And instead of worrying about a 30-minute opening statement and how are you going to say it all, he's going to teach you how to write it in 3 minutes or less. And poetry and music and film and mask work with Jesse Wilson, and all of that inner part of yourself that we hope to endorse and help you renew. So after you leave this CLE, which will be a Wednesday night to a Sunday afternoon, after you leave, you'll be renewed, and it's really exciting for me to be a part of that. And I look forward to seeing you there.
Doug, let's talk about songwriting and how it could be like an opening statement. Like we have talked about this a lot, Jeff, about how opening statements sometimes in closers, you guys get what, sometimes 30 minutes, something like that. And I was saying 30 minutes to tell a story, that's like an album. That's like a double live album, because we only get 3 minutes, you know. So to begin to tell a story and to end telling a story and make it, just a story, that's a lot to do in 3 minutes. So I was curious to know, how do you do it in 30, or why do you chop it off at any time?
Well, I'm kind of the exception. In my jurisdiction, when I go in, the judges go, Beam, it takes you 20 minutes to say good morning. Okay, so they automatically add 2 days to any trial. I just say, look, I'm slow. It just takes me a while to get there. But in music, you have to, in the old days, okay, and you're a grizzled veteran, even though you appear quite youthful.
Why, thank you.
In the old days, when we had like Elvis Presley, George, those older country musicians, up to the current, and you've worked with Dr. Dre and others, maybe you could share that. Can you talk about what the time limit was back then, what it is now, and how you get to where you can distill something powerful into that amount of time?
Back in the early 60s, late 50s, early 60s, some of those, like Love Me Do and some of those Beatles songs were 2 minutes and 12 seconds. That's short. But they were just like verse, chorus, get in, get out. And the reason those songs are short, and the reason that they still don't go over about 3 minutes, is because of advertising. Radio only plays music. They're not doing it because they like music. They're playing it because if you listen to music, you'll swallow some of the advertising. It's kind of like the aspirin and the sugar, So that's why they want to keep it song short, so they can sell more advertising. And that's really, really tested really heavily. They radio test all the songs. They even test how many times you can hear a song that you love before you hate it. It's called burn. So they were giving this to a songwriter saying, write this kind of song, write that kind of song, under 3 minutes, 3 minute positive up-tempo love song in the now with a catchy melody, octave and a third. It's a lot to remember in 3 minutes. But you guys can do it. You got all the latitude, but I'm thinking if you could make a 3 minute closer and then expand on it if you had to. What do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, I agree. And, you know, we as a lawyer, and by the way, Max is sort of my backbench sitter. I just tried a case in December, and he was there with me to be able to be up close and personal to a trial to see some of these time constraints that we have as lawyers. And it's great to have somebody who is in that same time crunch, but 1/10 the time. And so, you know, we're such a driven by in-your-face instant information. Not long ago, my wife and I were at a restaurant and saw some kids looking up, 4 kids sitting on a curb looking up at this big screen, and every 10 seconds there was a loop like TikTok. A dog and a cat swatting each other, somebody on a windsurfer jumping a wave. And it occurred to me, those are the jurors of the future. And every 10 seconds there's a new scene being flashed in front of their face. So if we're sitting here hanging to the 30-minute model, if you hadn't got them in 3.5 minutes, those jurors of the future are going to punish you. If you don't have them in 3.5 minutes like the song, at 27 minutes they're already going, I'm punishing you and I'm voting whatever you're saying, I'm going the other way. We've all been there. So this speed trial and these things, we're trying to figure the best way to get right to the point, which is what they do in any song.
Yeah, I think of it as like you see these guys come out there and swing 3 or 4 bats before they bat to get it. You know, it's heavier than a real bat, but when they drop all those bats, just one feels light. And that's what I'm talking about, is if you could write a 3-minute closer, then your 30-minute would be easy to get all your stuff down into. It reminds me of, I'm getting to talk to all these lawyers now. You guys probably know them all, but they're all new to me. You all are new to me. And then we were talking to Tom Mateer on the phone. He was saying that a trial is like a piece of performance art. And I thought that was really cool that he said that. I don't know if he's the one who thought it up, but it's a neat idea. But then Francis Ford Coppola kind of said the same thing yesterday, saying that same kind of thing. And I was thinking, man, this Francis Ford Coppola guy's, he's good. I ought to get him to open the rest of the tour for me. But he wasn't going for it. Then what happened, Jeff?
Then what?
We took that case and we put a name on it.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we wanted to not read War and Peace to a TikTok jury.
Right. And so there's a song that came out in Nashville not long ago, an artist named Kenny Chesney, and he had a song called No Shirt, No Shoes, No Problem, right? Well, the case that I was trying was a slip and fall case, and as an aside, I got off in the weeds 2 days before. I emailed Doug on a Friday night. He calls me at 11 o'clock Friday night, hey, I'm putting a Zoom call together tomorrow at noon. So that's the benefit of collaboration among lawyers. I'm in Tennessee. I vacation in Florida regularly, but to have friends in another state to be that endearing and to help pitch in is a great asset for all of us in the trial lawyer world. And so back to the case, the slip and fall case involved a situation where a guy's at a boat show and is told to take his shoes off, and he's in his socks, and there's no signs, and once he's on the boat, there's no place for him to step off, no handrails, he's just on his own. And his wool sock hits that fiberglass that had been polished up, and he has terrible injuries, 5 surgeries to his elbow. And so Max, in his creative energy, I've had this case on the shelf for 3 years, one of those that you know it's going to be tough, and you're finally there. He said, why don't you just incorporate something that's like an earworm and call it No Shoes, No Stairs, No Safety. And so we incorporated that theme in the opening and throughout. We introduced it in the opening and kept saying no shirt, no shoes, no stairs, no safety. And so the point being that you can see clearly when you're doing the closing and revisiting that, you're looking the jurors in the eyes and you can see them playing the song in their head. So it's almost like creating an earworm from a song that's out there that they know and readily recognize.
I think our coolest trick was getting, because it was a slip and fall case, and because the guy was in his socks, we put up on the screen. Do you remember the front of Risky Business where Tom Cruise slides in to just take them old records off a shelf. And he slides in with a microphone. Yeah, we didn't get that put in. Judge said no. But it was a great idea.
We tried.
And then we won the case, except for we didn't when the plaintiff said, no, it was my fault. Anyway, these things happen.
Well, Max,
Sir.
how do you read a room? We have to pick juries. You played all over the place, big stadium, small venues. You're looking at this crowd. I see you kind of scanning, like comedians do that. You know, do I go with this material or that? We have to pick juries. We got Beverly Abbott right there, who's a trial consultant, and she knows how to do this kind of thing. How do you read this room?
That's a great question. It's kind of demographic. I can tell by your reaction to things I'm saying. Either my jokes are bad or y'all are sleepy. And that's all part of it. You know, this happens every day. I go up on stage all over the world. Everybody's different. It's never the same. And it helps that I need glasses, and I'm not wearing any, so y'all a bunch of blobs. I don't care. And that looks great. But, you know, I'm seeing a lot of smiling faces, and it takes time to warm up and get to know me, and me get to know you. So the more I'm talking, the more smiles I see.
For instance, if you were to do another song for us, would you tailor that song to what you're observing?
Yes. Yeah. Everything I do as a performer has to do with what the audience is doing. And you were talking about comedians. Comedians do a thing called a callback, which is a great weapon or a tool. And I'm going to let you share how to do it, Doug. A callback is where a comedian takes a joke that he's already cracked. It was a great joke, and then he kind of uses part of it later in the show, and to great effect sometimes. Doug, tell us the one about do you remember at dinner in Miami you were telling us that story about the eggs?
Yes.
Could you tell us that?
Sure. A lot of you know it. You can use it as a technique in voir dire. I just stand up a lot, Max, because I'm used to doing that in court. It's the way they trained us at the University of Tennessee. Okay, but, right, Greg? Yeah, go Vols. It's an old thing, but I had one judge in our county go, Beam, you better not use that carton of eggs again. I think it's okay to use. In a voir dire, you just simply ask people, Rick, go up to the mic there, will you? This is Rick. Rick talked last night on non-binding arbitration. Some of you missed it. It's fabulous. It's recorded. You need to see it. Rick, you're juror number 4.
Okay.
And your last name, sir, what's your last name?
Elsley.
Elsley.
Is this on?
Can you tell us, sir, do you ever buy eggs?
I didn't hear you. What?
Do you ever, I'm Southern, so you got to go with me.
No.
Okay. You ever buy eggs at the store?
Do I buy eggs? Yeah.
How do you do it?
How do I buy eggs? Open the carton, lift it up, turn around, make sure it's not stuck to the thing, and check the date.
You just don't go buy the store brand or the free range
I
organic?
usually get the organic or free range.
Okay. Now, if you open that carton up, do you do that even if the carton looks fine?
Yeah, because I'm nuts.
Okay, you just don't go and trust the way the carton looks.
Correct.
Okay. What if you open it up and an egg's cracked in there? What do? You buy it because it looked fine? You know?
I don't buy it.
You don't? What do you do?
Go to the next one.
Okay. All right. Then I stop. But I might ask several jurors. And then in rebuttal, thanks, Rick. In rebuttal, I'll wait because it's rebuttal, and I'll walk up to my client and I'll say something like, you know, Max looks fine, Mr. Barnes looks fine on the outside, doesn't he? But you know what? He's that carton of eggs. He's cracked. Nobody's going to buy that carton of eggs. And that's the way the rest of his life's going to be. He's cracked. I'm not talking about mentally, Max, but you do that, and sometimes the jurors just go, I get it. You know, and you do that a lot of times if you have a particularly appealing client. Nice-looking man, nice-looking woman, they look fine, and it seems to resonate. Is that kind of what you were talking about, Max?
That's a great story and a great technique, and if I was a lawyer, I'd use it on everything. It'd be like Mama's chow chow on everything. I put it on everything. That's some great storytelling. it hit me. Did you guys pick up this yesterday about Mr. Coppola when he was talking about some of those sayings like an offer you can't refuse, or some of these other ones that he said they just made them up, or his mom used to say them? I was thinking that was the old mafia sayings that everybody said. Nope, they just made them up. I thought that was incredible. That was really neat. And it reminded me of songwriting, and I do the same thing. I just make these songs up. I'm going to sing you a song now that was really good to us. And, you know, since then, it's been selling for many years, and kept the Barnes family in beans and taters for a long time. But I've seen people all around the world tell me they love this song, or it was their wedding song, or they buried their dad to it, or their mom. Really moving. And sometimes they'll get to crying and make me cry. And I feel kind of guilty to tell them, because they'll say, "Did you make that up?" And I'll go, "No, that's all true." No, but it's not. You got to make them up. That's what we're doing. So some years ago, I was on the road playing with Linda Davis, and we was opening for Garth Brooks, I think. And backstage, there were some DJs, and they were saying, we had like a meet and greet, or they did. I'm playing guitar. And they said, "Max T, I love that new song you have on the radio." And I'm going, I don't have one. See, I'm Max T. Barnes, and my dad was Max D. Barnes. And my wife says you can remember D is for dad and T is for trouble. And that's true. Taco, too, either one. But everybody knew my dad, and I was coming on the scene, too. But sure enough, there was a song on the charts. I said, "Well, you're probably thinking of my dad. He's always got one or two on the charts." So I get home, and here's this new artist named Bubba Ray. And he's recorded one of my songs, and I don't even recognize the title. They had changed the title of my song and on this new artist. But I found out when I got home, it was like already 30 on the charts, and then it kept going up and went to number 1. We thought, man, that's great. And then stayed number 1 another week. And then by the 3rd week, we're going, man, this is great. And then we got nominated for CMA Song of the Year. And that was pretty great with all the cameras and the swooshies, and it was really fun. And then, but did I mention my dad was also a songwriter? So the first time in history a father and son had gone up against each other for CMA Song of the Year. My luck. My poor old dad. So y'all remember Paul Harvey, the rest of the story? I'm going to tell you what happened after this. I'm going to play you this song. This was the song we wrote, and then I'll tell you what happened. Is this on? Can you hear this? Can you turn it up a little bit? Yeah. Bring the thunder. All right. I read a note my grandma wrote back in 1923. Grandpa kept it in his coat, and he showed it once to me. He said, "Boy, you might not understand, but a long, long time ago, Grandma's daddy didn't like me none, but I loved your grandma so. We had this crazy plan to meet and run away together, get married in the first town we came to and live forever. But nailed to the tree where we were supposed to meet instead, I found this letter, and this is what it said. If you get there before I do, don't give up on me. I'll meet you when my chores are through, but I don't know how long I'll be, but I'm not gonna let you down. Darling, wait and see And between now and then, till I see you again, I'll be loving you. Love me. I read those words just hours before my grandma passed away, in the doorway of a church where me and Grandpa stopped to pray. You know, I'd never seen him cry in all my 15 years. But as he said these words to her, his eyes filled up with tears. If you get there before I do, don't give up on me. I'll meet you when my chores are through. But I don't know how long I'll be, but I'm not gonna let you down. Darling, wait and see. And between now and then, till I see you again, I'll be loving you. Love me. Yeah, between now and then, till I see you again, I'll be loving you. Love me. Thank you. That's very kind of you. But we didn't win CMA Song of the Year that night. My dear old dad won with a song he wrote with Vince Gill about my mama. Look at us. After all these years together. It's early, folks. Look at us. After all that we've been through, look at us, still believing in forever. When they want to see how true love should be, they'll just look at us. And when they want to see how true love should be, they'll just look at us. God bless you, Mom and Dad. All right. Thank you.
So Max, so I think the real burning question here is, so these ideas come to you, and that all those lyrics were formed in your brain, and you put it with the music, and it becomes the song. So, like Doug was talking about earlier with the eggs, what I got from that is he's telling a story that's relatable. Buying eggs, we've all been there, and you're like, I'm not taking that carton home until I know what I'm getting. But that relatable experience, do you find relatable experiences just from perhaps a weather incident or just driving down the road? So,
Yeah, ideas come from everywhere, and when you're a songwriter, you guys as lawyers probably know this too, it's like your antenna is always on. You're always hearing stuff. And always something goes, bing, that's an idea for this. Are y'all this way? You probably are. The antenna is always on, so I'm always trying to think of ideas. And like anything, like one time we had a big tornado in Nashville. You probably remember this, Jeff, but there was I had to go the long way around. I live out in the country, and the fences were knocked down, so this guy's goats were out. So I get out and I'm helping him get his goats back in. And the next day I'm writing with Trey Bruce, who is the son of Ed Bruce, who wrote "Mamas, Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be Cowboys." That guy. So we're writing this song, and I throw this out like there's cows. I changed it from goats to cows, but there's cows in the road, and you swerve. And I thought, man, that's really dumb. But it turned out that's that weird thing. Like my saying is different, beats good every time. And that's how I compete, is come up with something weird. And I think that's how it got cut, just being that strange. And it was a #1 for Diamond Rio for 3 weeks, the song. So that worked out good.
Well, can we hear it?
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that part. Well, I'm no poet and I know it. I don't use $5 words. Might not sound like much compared to all the pretty things you've heard. But here's how I'd explain it. Since you brought it up, it might not sound like anybody else's version of love. But it's like just before dark, jump in the car, buy an ice cream and see how far you can drive before it melts kind of feeling. And there's a cow in the road and you swerve to the left. Fate skips a beat and it scares you to death and you laugh until you cry. But that's how your love makes me feel inside. We'll just do the abbreviated version. There it is, Diamond Rio. Thank you. But I think it's a big deal. What I wanted to talk to you guys about, and maybe it's new to you, but in my field, I've been a contract songwriter I did it for 30 years with Warner Brothers and Curb and Sony. And in my lane, writing songs, we co-write songs. We like to get with another writer and write because we're laughing, we're having fun, we're eating lunch, we're drinking beer. I don't know what you guys do at the office, but I'll look away if you're going to drink beer, right? But it was fun, so I would encourage you to bring on a co-writer or a co-lawyer or however you guys do that. Jeff?
Yeah, and so many of the things that Max and I are exploring are how his lane as a songwriter relates to us as trial lawyers. And some of the most satisfaction I've had in the practice of law is not just a case that I've taken and worked. We all can do those, $25,000, $50,000 cases in our sleep. But the big ones that require outside-the-box thinking, a new technique, something like that, at the end of the case, when it's a success, and you've had the chance to collaborate, as he calls it a co-write, we call it an association. And so many of the things that we're trying to explore is how a songwriter in his lane or her lane relates to us as trial lawyers. And I would submit to you, and I'm speaking more to the younger folks in the crowd, in 25 years of practicing, I can tell you the most fun that comes with the success and the financial gain is working with people that have that same creativity, and as Lori was reminding us of yesterday, what Mr. Coppola said, engage in the play of it. That's where the satisfaction and fulfillment is.
Max, let me ask you on that topic.
Yeah.
Females, males. What do you do if you associate a female songwriter or performer? They see things we don't see.
That's a great point, especially like if we're writing a female song.
Well, hold on, what's a female song?
Well, it'd be a song that a female sings about being a female.
Thank you, I'm a little slow.
Right.
Thank you.
So I'm guessing she's talking about what girls talk about in those songs. I don't know. But you know what I'm saying? That would give her perspective, but we could still write the male song. It doesn't matter. Because a lot of times we'll take and try to write them like unisex anyway, like
Okay.
where it could flop because you're writing one song that could fit for all the artists.
Okay.
I like this question. If you guys have any questions, I'd love to have you come up and ask them about how royalties work or how people get paid or who writes the songs or all that juicy stuff. If you just want to know someplace to eat in Nashville, I'll tell you that.
We have a hot mic here if you want to come up and talk to them. Let me also ask you, how do you handle butterflies? Because before trials, I always have butterflies. And once you get into it, you're trained, you get into it. How do you handle that as a performer? Do you still get butterflies even in front of a bunch of trial lawyers?
You can, yeah, you can, especially getting thrown off. Like, I can tell you normally, I've done it so many times that almost nothing surprises me anymore. Normally, I'd have a boom stand so this wouldn't rub. I'd have 2 speakers so I could hear myself and my guitar, and you guys would be drunk. And that really helps a lot. You've heard me, you know. Hi, John.
Well, I thought I would start with what I'd like everybody to do is you come up, you say, Max, make me a song, and take about 20 seconds to lay out a set of facts in one of your cases, and we're going to throw it up to Max and just see how he might take that and turn it into a story. The first lawsuit I ever filed was defended by one of our former presidents, Lake Lytle. He was still, who many of you know, he was still a defense lawyer, and I represented, here's the case. So, Max, make me a song about this case. I represent a family, and they own a Chihuahua that is the #1 Chihuahua in the world for selling its puppies. And the name of the Chihuahua is Penberthy's Spunky Gigi.
What is it?
Penberthy's,
Penberthy's
Gigi.
Spunky Gigi.
Yeah.
What's that rhyme with?
And I don't know, but they let the Chihuahua out one morning and heard barking and screeching, and they ran out. And 2 German shepherds were running away, and one of them had Spunky Gigi in its mouth. And the 2, I swear to God this is true, the dogs were named Bonnie and Clyde. And they ended up being chased. They dropped the dog, and the Chihuahua could not have puppies anymore, and the family lost a lot of money because the #1 Chihuahua in the world could no longer be #1 and now walked with a limp. And so that's my case. Could you make me a song about that case?
John, I didn't think, we don't know about dog cases, you know, some of our cases. So go ahead.
Dog bite case, yes. As a matter of fact, I have looked into this song, John. It was fed over the transom to me late last night, maybe without you knowing. So I'm prepared to sing you that song now. You ready?
Okay.
It's terrible song. I'm gonna sing it for you. All right. It's bad. All right. Penberthy Spunky Gigi, the Chihuahua was her name. Making baby Chihuahuas, well, that was her game. A one puppy mill, every breeder's pride, until 2 German shepherds named Bonnie and Clyde. There was barking, there was biting, and the furrow how it flew. Bonnie and Clyde chewed that dog where dogs just shouldn't chew. Bonnie and Clyde were kept inside after that. Penberthy Spunky Gigi looked like a chewed up rat. All right, here's the best part. This is the end. All right, here's the last one. The lawsuit was filed and the verdict, it was big. With her breeding days behind her, now she needed to find a gig. The good news for Spunky is it all ended well. You may have seen her on TV saying, "You Kiro Taco Bell."
All right.
Copyright John Romero. I don't know if I can do that again.
Got a guy from Cleveland, Rock City right here.
Cleveland, Ohio.
That was
This
terrible.
guy's from Rock City right here. Cleveland, Ohio.
All right, come on up. What's your dog's name?
Would you introduce yourself, would you, and where you're from?
Dustin Herman. I'm from Florida.
That's right.
But I currently live in Cleveland, Ohio.
Yes, thank you.
Here's the case. I don't know if this is fair to even do to you. It's a nursing home case, and there's an elderly gentleman, 79 years old. His wife is there with him. He's sick and getting sicker. No one's coming to help. He goes into sepsis and dies before anybody comes and helps. I want to give you more than that.
Just a steel guitar is all you need on that one. Let me think about it,
All right.
and we'll see if we can get to it. Does anybody else have any questions? Jeff, you want to have any questions?
Well, let's see. What's the biggest show or biggest arena you've ever played?
120,000 people. June Jam is a big thing they're having for Alabama, that group. And this was like 120,000 people. It came in on a helicopter. Everybody did. And the singer, Skip Ewing, he jumped out of the helicopter and he went, "Hey, everybody!" And we were waiting for the pink mist, but his hand was saved. Yeah, 120,000 people. That was a big night.
What's the smallest crowd you've ever played?
One time I played to 2 people. I was booked on a listening room on a Friday, the first day of football in Alabama. And I didn't know. And these 2 people sat there and we laughed, and I did a show for them and we had a ball. We just did. Crazy, right?
On that topic, John, you remember Peter Perlman, right? Pete, he did a talk in Minneapolis, snowstorm. Everybody got out, but he was stuck. He goes to give his talk. There's one man there sitting on the front row. He goes, "Look, this guy, he's here. I'll do my whole show. I'll do my 50-minute talk." He did it. The guy applauded. He says, "Thank you for sticking around for my talk." He goes, "You're welcome. I'm the next speaker." That's a comedian comeback.
That's good. I like writing funny songs, and if I were to write something about your client there, I think it'd be too funny. Maybe I wouldn't be sad enough, but I'm still thinking about it. Does anybody know who Ray Stevens is? He's a comedian and wrote a bunch of songs that were big things like The Streak and Mississippi Squirrel and things like that. Ray Stevens is a genius, and I got to write for him. Ray, back in the day you remember when they used to sell those DVDs online? Ray was selling those DVDs of his songs, and he sold those DVDs for $20 a piece, and he sold 4 million of them. So Ray is a smart feller. But he loves me to. He would love me to write him all sorts of things. But here's a song I'm going to sing for you just for the heck of it. This is one that I wrote. It's on that Ray Stevens album. It's a #4 comedy record. That was pretty fun. What I'm going to tell you is it's good to tell people what your case is about. In this case, it's my song. I'm going to tell you what it's about, and then you're going to hear it many times, so you're going to go, "I understand. I got the facts." So the name of this song is the Solar-Powered Song, because it is indeed solar-powered, and it's a song, so it's called the Solar-Powered Song. It goes like this. Well, this is the solar-powered song, 'cause energy from oil, I'm told, is wrong. Well, I'm unplugging from the grid. Let's all sing along. Yes, this is the solar-powered song. The solar-powered song. Everybody. Well, this is the solar-powered song. And I'm not sure, but I think there's something wrong. Well, I don't know what's the deal. It's been sunny all day long. Well, this concludes the solar-powered
We have some. Max, I think
Thank you.
questions. We have some, did I see some other people come up with some? Oh, here's the sepsis song. Yeah.
So if you want to make it funny, maybe we focus on the defendant, so it's a nursing home that when people call for help and push their call light, no one comes, and the nursing home just won't help anybody. So focus on the defendant.
That's good stuff. I don't know if I can talk to you and write that song at the same time, though. Well, that sounds really
Take a
good. Let me try it.
question
Yeah,
while
let's
you're
take a
working
question.
on it.
Hi, I have
Hi.
a question about streaming. I want to know your thoughts on it. I've seen that a lot of artists aren't getting paid properly due to streaming, and I've seen that some Congress people want to pass legislation to make sure that artists are getting paid better than they currently are. I wanted
Can you
your
tell
thoughts.
us your name and where you're from?
Yeah, my name's Nabiha Sher. I live in Niceville, Florida, and I work at the Ben Crump Law Firm.
Okay, thank you.
That's a great question. Streaming has really tanked the music business. It's really, really hurt everything in the music business. And here's the thing, like, this about 20 years ago, I know this firsthand, that BMI is like a collection agency for songwriters, Broadcast Music Incorporated. BMI did a deal with Spotify, this has been like 20 years ago, where they've been partners for all this time, because I remember they were giving out Spotify accounts through BMI. And what Spotify did was they cut a deal where they didn't pay BMI in money, they paid them in credits or shares. So you don't have to distribute shares. So it really just killed the whole business and turned it into a live event thing.
Well, Max, if I may, you said, so you live in Nashville and you spent your career there writing songs. Are you just an exclusive Nashville songwriter, or how would you describe that? You mentioned, or Doug mentioned you worked with Dr. Dre. Can you tell the folks about that?
I am a songwriter. Like if I was a woodworker and I lived in Nebraska, I might make, I don't know, cupboards. If I worked in San Diego, I might make boats, being a woodworker. But since I'm a songwriter who lives in Nashville, it just makes sense that I write country songs. So that worked out, and I didn't work with Dr. Dre. I love when people miss that, and I just let it go by. But I was sitting in the studio with him in L.A. It was very strange. Like, I was producing these girls called the Marie Sisters for MCA, and I didn't know it was Dr. Dre. But they had a yard in the back with they was back there exercising. It was very strange looking. But he was in the B studio, and the girls called and said, "Hey, how do we get there?" So anyway, I'm asking this guy in the lounge, "Hey, how do you take it? Is it left off Cahuenga?" And he said, "Yeah, it is." I go, "Great." So they come in, they're going, "Dr. Dre, I can't believe it." I didn't know it was Dr. Dre, but I thought he's a pretty nice feller. But I'm sure he's telling that story about me somewhere tonight too. He couldn't believe he met me.
Can you tell us, you have had the #1 hits, you performed them. That's new to a lot of people, but to you hear it all the time. We use trial themes that work, and I hear successful trialers go, "I'm so tired of the carton of eggs, I'm going to do something different." Well, your jurors have never heard the carton of eggs, or whatever your stuff you're really good at. But that's your baby too, that #1 song. Can you tell us how you keep it fresh, how you deal with that? Because crowd, a lot of them hadn't heard it. Some have, they'll sing along, right?
I know exactly what you're saying. You're saying that I've sang this song or all these songs a million times. How do I not get bored with them? Well, you kind of do sometimes you don't. But we did talk about that, about you using your egg thing. If I had that, I'd use it on everything. Just because you're changing the venue all the time. It's like sometimes we would do shows that would turn the house, what they call, they'd have a group here, then we do a show, and they'd take the group out and put another group in. Well, some of these artists would change the set. It's like you don't have to change the set, they're changing the people. So you can just keep doing your own thing. That's what I'd do.
Well, one technique I used when I was a prosecutor, I would go and watch my opponents, and they would have certain things they did, and then I would steal their material. Like a comedian who comes on and steals somebody else who's come in later, Because I got to go first.
That's called influence, Doug.
Is that what that's called?
Yeah, we don't call it stealing.
But, you know, do you ever, but I just thought that was an effective technique because it deflated my opponent. And purposely, I would not do it well because it was their stuff. So I would kind of do it poorly and you just get them so upset. But do you ever steal, influenced by other people?
That's very tricky, Doug. I don't want to ever be against you in the courtroom. You got too many tricks, man. Yeah, a funny thing happened. A friend of mine and I, Tom Shapiro, we were writing one day, and I was saying, what if we? Because what'll happen is like, what do you want to write? Well, what's a hit? It's like, who's cutting? What do you write a song like this? And we're going, maybe something in this tempo where it'll be a single, and that's how we do it. And I was thinking, what if we did like remember that old Spy thing? Doug, you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
And then it's kind of like you had the, remember all that Spy stuff?
Yeah.
And I was telling Tom, I said, you should write a song like this, that lick, you know. And he said, we'll get sued. And I said, what about this? He said, we won't get sued. I said, let's write that one then. And we did, and we had a #1. I'll play you some of it. How does she know what makes me laugh? And how does she know where to scratch my back? How could anybody fit me right down to a T? Oh, I swear that girl's been spying on me. Now she knows all my inner thoughts, 'cause she got ways of making me talk. Well, she remains a mystery. Well, I swear that girl's been spying on me, 'cause she been using information I had locked up deep inside to be the perfect woman I've been looking for all my life. Maybe we're just two people meant to be. Either that or that girl's been spying on me. Didn't get sued.
Max, let me ask. Vince Gill is a great guitarist. Oh, yeah. And you've worked, he's incredible, right? Sure. You know your way around a guitar.
Yeah, when I was, thank you, Doug. I spent my youth coming up when they were kids was outside kicking the football. I'd be inside playing the guitar. And when they were outside catching the football, I'd be inside playing the guitar. And a lot of people don't know I can kick this thing 60 yards.
Well, let me ask you, the reason I'm getting at this, sometimes we come to lawyer conferences and you see the lions and lionesses of the bar. You're a young lawyer, you want to be at the top, right? You probably were that way as a musician. Did you study people, just really get into their stuff so that you could develop that? And do you think, second question, compound question, second question, #1 country song. There's only one #1, right?
That's right.
When you have your first one, did that change your life? Like your first big verdict in a case? It might not be the money, it may be the outcome. Mm-hmm. Could be a criminal case, could be whatever. Can you kind of talk a little bit about that? Because you're at the top of your game. So how does that happen? It doesn't happen overnight, does it?
No, my dad was already in it. So my dad helped me a lot, and he opened every door for me. But there's an old saying, it's like, if you can't tote the mail, then you can't run the route. So, you know, after I got let in and he opened these doors for me, I got to say, because I could do it, because I really did try. I dedicated myself to learning how to play guitar and to be the best at that, and the tone and the licks and all that. And then I got into songwriting, and the same thing, I really did dedicate myself to it, because my dad and a whole group of people moved to Nashville. They're pioneers to do that, to uproot your life and your kids out of school and move to Nashville. And that's a real pioneer thing to do, and I think to honor that, I think it'd be lack if I didn't try so hard.
So the common theme I'm getting from that question, Doug, is, you know, there's a sacrifice involved. And we as trial lawyers, we sacrifice, there's only the same amount of time every day on the clock for all of us. And how do we choose to use that? And finding balance. How do you balance songwriting with living your life outside of being in that zone of creativity?
Or do you?
I guess some do and some don't. I always try. You know, Vince Gill's a great role model and a example of what can be done. He's always been a super nice guy. I met him the first night he came to Nashville. He came out and played with me. It was a little gig like this at the Bluebird Cafe. Have you guys been to the Bluebird Cafe? Anybody? Oh, you have. There? Yeah. Two. So anyway, he got up and he played with me, and of course he killed. He played "That's All Right, Mama," and I think he played some Delbert McClinton song. But golly, he was just killing it right as he came to town. Sorry, Jeff, go ahead.
No, so you touched on one. So tell us about, have you ever had any surprises, like when you're going to lunch? Speaking of Delbert McClinton.
Oh, you're talking about, yeah, one time, so like Music Row is like this big, almost like a college campus, like 16th, 17th, 18th Avenue. So everybody runs into everybody, which is great. It really feeds the town and the creativity, kind of like the co-writing thing again. Anytime you can put a bunch of people in a office or a room and you know, get the energy. So we were walking to lunch one day, and walked by this car with the blacked out windows, and it was going boom, boom, boom with the bass, you know. We call them a boom car. And it's just about to lunch, and I'm walking past this car, and the music is so loud. It's just crashing the car, you know. And I walk by, and I try to peek in the tinted windows just to see what stupid looks like, Jeff. And I look in there. It's my dad. He's sitting in there with Delbert McClinton. They just got out of the studio with Bonnie Raitt and did that song, Every Time I Roll the Dice.
Well, and would you play it for us? Because there's some connection to your family with that song, correct?
Yeah, my dad wrote it.
Yeah.
Is that the one you're talking about?
That's right.
Oh, yeah, my dad wrote this song. So I think we're about near wrapping it up, ain't we?
I don't know. How much time do we have left?
I'd say, Eric, we got another 10 minutes, don't we? I think so. We should, yeah. So,
Okay.
Super.
good?
All right. Well, I'll cut this down to 9 minutes then. I'm just kidding. She got a roof it don't leak when the rain's pouring down. She got a place I can sleep, y'all. Oh, where I'm safe and sound. She got a lock on the door, but she gave me a key, and she don't walk the floor. Oh, but she worries about me. Her love has no strings, the shackles are chains, but I'm holding on for dear life. Though this like rolling a 7 every time I roll the dice. She got a big Oldsmobile. She got a dog that don't bite. She got a heart I can steal, y'all. Whoo, just like a thief in the night. She got a slow burning fire. Oh, she keeps the radio low. And when she gets inspired, y'all, ooh, we let the good times roll. Her love has no strings, shackles or chains, but I'm holding on for dear life. 'Cause she like rolling a 7 every time I roll the dice. Hey, every time I roll, every time I roll, every time I roll, every time I roll the dice. All right. Thank you.
Max, I did say we do, I think, did you have a question? Come on up. Also, I thought maybe you could do Alice's Restaurant.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
No, we'll knock that right out.
How long is that? Like 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Come on up.
Howdy.
Howdy. My name's Ty Tyson. I'm from Tampa, and sticking with John Romano's Animal Kingdom theme, I have a case that I call the Great Coon Caper. A lady lives in a condominium. She's part of a condominium association that oversees it. There is a big dumpster in the back. She lives in a rural community. She goes out there with her trash bag, and she opens it up, and the raccoon goes, whoosh! And she spins around, turns around, and smashes her head into the ground, messes up her eye real bad. So, waste management, it was their dumpster. They didn't do anything with it. And so that was my case, the Great Coon Caper. I took it because it involved animals, and I thought it would be exciting.
Raccoons are funny.
I thought it'd be exciting and fun. Didn't turn out that way, but you got your work cut out for you, buddy.
Thank you.
Max, Lori had a question.
Yeah. Hi, Lori.
Hi. So I've just been sitting here thinking that it's fun for those of us who are not musicians to think about writing a song or listening to music. I know for myself, my creative outlet is just listening to stuff. What do you do to recharge your creative energy, or how do you play?
I love to, I've got old cars and trucks that I'm a terrible mechanic. I'm a YouTube certified know-it-all. And that means I don't know anything. But I love working on old cars. I've got a farm there. I like working around the land, around the barn, and mowing grass, just working with my hands, getting my hands dirty.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Interesting.
After all these years, do you still find the passion to play your guitar? Because some musicians just, when they step off stage, they put it in the case and they don't pick it up until the next time.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, I love playing guitar. It just feels so good when you get a good one. It's just hard to not play it. But having said that, I've had periods in my life where I didn't play it for 18 months or 2 years at all, just because I wasn't doing something. But it's so fun. I mean, I never was a collector, but I love playing guitar and recording. And I knew when I got hold of a recording studio, that was for me. But that's been a long time ago. I've been loving producing and recording, writing, doing all that stuff.
Do you, Max, we're winding up here. Do you have any advice for trial lawyers? You're starting to do more of these conferences and to help us out with themes and life, how we get our concepts. Do you, maybe the concept of justice? You know, I think country music touches people at a lot of different levels. Do you have any thoughts for this group that you would encourage the lawyers, no matter what our ages are?
Yes, I do, and I wouldn't presume to tell you guys anything about what you do, but I can see that sometimes we do a similar thing. If you're trying to make a closing statement sound really, concise, and really sell it and make it clear, there's a game named Jenga, and we think of this, we refer to this as writers will say, Jenga that line out of there, because if you remember this game Jenga, if you remove the wooden block, well, if it doesn't fall over, you didn't need that piece, did you? Right. So, hey, somebody just got 50 bonus points. So if you don't need that block, just pull it out of there and keep doing that until you have just what you need, and it should be enough.
You know.
Also, just brevity. We don't get to hang any words at the end. There's no explainers, but in my business they say, don't bore us, get to the chorus. So, and then the last thing I would say, besides co-writing with people you love, it's so much more fun. If I'd have sat 30 years by myself writing songs, it would have been solitary confinement. So don't do that to yourself. Go find some people you like and enjoy that. I think that's about it. I think I'm going to go around looking in these boxes of lunch and see if there's any sandwiches left. Hi, and we got some questions.
Let me, anybody else have a question, come on up. Also think, how do y'all like this thing John Romano put together with Coppola, with Barnes? I don't think there's any other law conference where you're going to have this opportunity anywhere in the country to get these ideas. Do y'all like this concept of cross-pollination, kind of? Okay. All right. So I would like to thank, and John, I know you, if you want to come up and wrap it here, we'll ask John to step up, the George Washington of Workhorse. Here, he didn't sleep here, he just set it up. But John, I think you had the idea of inviting these gentlemen down, and you want to wrap it?
Well, look, this has just been so much fun, so different, so unique.
Good, Jeff.
I have a song about Ken Berthy's Spunky GG. I'll never forget that. We got it on tape. So thank you for doing this. And I know that's a big ask when we say, please come on down to be here with us and perform and teach us. And we learn more about how we think about stories. And that, when you sang, though, Love Me, oh my, I mean, what a tearjerker. It's just so beautiful. It really was. So I can't thank you enough. And Jeff, you're setting this up. And Lori, the work that you all are going to be doing, I can't wait to get us all up there to Nashville. And Doug, thank you for moderating and being who you are. But look, we've had a great time. And we're now going to take, I think, about a 15-minute break. We come back in and we go into an extraordinary session on bad faith law and litigation and strategy.
Okay.
All right? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
John?